Have you ever thought a handful of nuts could silently damage your heart, your memory, even your liver without you noticing? That's what happened to Carol, a 70-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. Every afternoon she reached for her favorite healthy snack, a small bowl of mixed nuts. It was her comfort, her habit, her way of saying, "I'm taking care of myself." But the truth was heartbreaking. Within 2 years, her blood pressure crept up. Her cholesterol numbers changed. She started forgetting small things, names, places, words. Her doctor adjusted her medication, but the symptoms didn't stop. Until one nutritionist looked at her food journal and pointed at one innocent entry: peanuts every day. That's when Carol and thousands of seniors like her learned the truth. Not all nuts are good for you, especially after 65. In fact, some of the most common ones may increase inflammation, blood pressure, and even interfere with your medications. But here's the good news. Just a small change, switching the wrong nuts for the right ones, can protect your heart, sharpen your mind, and even help you sleep better. In this video, I'll show you 4 powerful nuts every senior should be eating and 4 you need to avoid starting today. One of them might already be in your pantry, doing more harm than good. Watch to the very end because the number 1 nut to avoid has a dark secret that no one talks about, and it might shock you. If you're over 65, this could be the most important 5 minutes you invest in your health today. Most people believe nuts are healthy, period, but after 65, that's not always true. Let me explain. Your body at 30 and your body at 70 don't process food the same way. As we age, our metabolism slows down. Our digestion weakens, the liver detoxifies less efficiently, the kidneys filter slower, and inflammation, the silent destroyer, becomes more common. Now add to that the fact that many nuts are processed with high heat, loaded with salt, or contain natural compounds that interfere with common medications like blood thinners, statins, or antidepressants. Some even carry toxins that accumulate over time in aging organs. You see, not all fats in nuts are created equal. Some contain heart-healthy monounsaturated fats. Others, like peanuts, are packed with omega-6s, which fuel inflammation when they are not balanced by omega-3s. And then there's the mold risk, especially in nuts stored improperly. Aflatoxins produced by fungi on peanuts and other nuts have been linked to liver damage and even cancer, and seniors are more vulnerable due to lower detox capacity. Even worse, some nuts that seem soft and safe can actually trigger choking episodes in seniors with swallowing issues. And others, like cashews, cause blood sugar spikes that quietly sabotage diabetic control. So it's not about avoiding all nuts, it's about choosing the right ones and avoiding the silent threats. In the next part, I'll show you exactly which 4 nuts every senior should be eating and how to enjoy them without risk. These aren't just snacks. They're powerful tools to protect your heart, bones, brain, and even your sleep. Stay with me, it gets better from here. The 4 best nuts to eat after 65. 4. Almonds, the bone-strengthening powerhouse. I still remember my patient Frank, 76, tall, sharp, proud. He'd been active his whole life until one simple fall broke his hip and sent him into a year of painful rehab. We talked after. I asked about his diet. No dairy, no greens, and no almonds. He didn't like hard foods. I gently explained what I'll tell you now. Almonds are one of the most powerful bone-supporting foods you can eat as you age. Just a small handful, around 15 to 20 raw or dry roasted almonds a day, gives your body a dose of calcium, magnesium, and vitamin E. These nutrients work like a team. Calcium builds bone. Magnesium makes sure calcium goes into your bones, not your arteries. Vitamin E protects your cells from aging and oxidative damage, including brain cells. Many seniors don't realize this, but magnesium deficiency is shockingly common after 60, and it's the missing link for many bone issues. Almonds quietly help fill that gap. Research also shows that the flavonoids in almond skin work together with vitamin E to double the antioxidant effect. So if you can choose almonds with skin on. And don't overlook this, almonds are fiber-rich, helping with one of the most frustrating issues in aging: constipation. But be careful. If you have trouble swallowing or weak teeth, soak almonds overnight to soften them or chop them into your yogurt or oatmeal. Almonds aren't just food. For seniors, they're daily insurance for stronger bones, better memory, and smoother digestion. Let's move to nut number 3, and this one might surprise you. It looks just like your brain. And that's no accident. 3. Walnuts, the brain booster. When my mother turned 80, the thing she feared most wasn't cancer. It wasn't even falling. It was forgetting names, faces, memories, losing herself. So I started her on a simple habit, a small handful of walnuts each day. It wasn't magic, but it made a difference. You see, walnuts are the single best nut for brain health, and their shape looking almost like a tiny human brain is nature's clue. They're packed with alpha-linolenic acid ALA, a plant-based form of omega-3 fat. This is critical because omega-3s help keep brain cell membranes flexible and healthy, support neurotransmitters, how your brain talks to itself, reduce inflammation that contributes to cognitive decline. But that's just the beginning. Walnuts also contain polyphenols, powerful compounds that actually cross the blood-brain barrier to fight oxidative stress inside your brain tissue. That's rare, and that's important. In one study, seniors who ate 1.5 ounces of walnuts daily for just 8 weeks had significant improvements in mental speed and flexibility. It's like oiling the gears of your thinking. Another bonus: melatonin. That natural sleep hormone our bodies stop making as we age, walnuts help bring it back, gently improving sleep cycles without pills. Now, I'll give you a practical tip: eat 7 to 9 walnut halves per day. That's enough. Store them in the fridge, their delicate oils spoil easily. And if you can, buy them in the shell. Cracking them gives your hands a bit of gentle exercise too, which helps preserve dexterity. Some people complain about the bitterness in walnuts. But did you know that bitterness comes from antioxidants? It's actually a sign of their brain protecting power. Walnuts are not a snack. They're brain armor, and in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, that protection matters more than ever. Next, let's talk about a green nut that quietly lowers blood pressure and protects your eyesight too. Dois pistachios, the blood pressure regulator. I once had a patient named Gerald. He was 74, always cheerful but quietly frustrated. "Doctor," he said, "I'm doing everything right. Walking every day, watching my salt, taking the pills. But my blood pressure just won't stay down." I looked at his snacks: chips, pretzels, salted peanuts. I asked him to try something different for 30 days, a small handful of pistachios every afternoon. The change, modest but real. His systolic pressure dropped by 4 points, and he felt better, less bloated, more energized. Here's why pistachios are special. They're one of the best sources of potassium among all nuts, about 285 milligrams per serving, and they're naturally low in sodium. That potassium to sodium ratio is crucial for older adults because aging kidneys often retain too much salt. Pistachios gently help restore the balance. But they do more than help your heart. Pistachios are rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, two antioxidants that go straight to the retina, protecting your eyes from age-related macular degeneration, a leading cause of vision loss over 65. And unlike tougher nuts, pistachios are gentle on the teeth with a satisfying crunch that doesn't punish crowns or dentures. One fascinating fact: the act of shelling pistachios slows you down. Research shows that seeing the empty shells helps regulate how much you eat, making pistachios a mindful snack that's both physical and mental therapy. I recommend eating about 49 pistachios a day. That's 1 ounce, ideally unsalted or lightly salted. If you have arthritis, look for ones already slightly open to avoid strain. And for seniors with diabetes or prediabetes, good news: the fiber and healthy fats in pistachios can help regulate blood sugar and reduce post-meal spikes. They're not just a snack. They're a natural blood pressure aid-eye protector, and even a little mental gym for your fingers and brain. Now let's talk about the most surprising nut of all, the one I call the thyroid healer. But be warned, this one is so powerful it must be eaten with caution. Brazil nuts, the thyroid healer. I'll never forget Helen. She was 69, still sharp, still active, but something had changed. She was tired all the time, gaining weight, moody, cold hands, thinning hair. Her doctor said it was just aging. But when we checked her labs, I saw the truth. Her thyroid was sluggish, not broken, just undersupported. So I suggested something simple, just 1 Brazil nut per day. That's it, 1 nut, and within weeks her energy returned. Her hands warmed, her mood stabilized. That's the power of selenium, and Brazil nuts are the richest food source of it on the planet. Just 1 nut contains about 96 micrograms, more than 100% of your daily need. And selenium is critical for activating thyroid hormone, supporting energy and metabolism, protecting brain cells from oxidative damage, even regulating mood and immune health. The key: bioavailability. The selenium in Brazil nuts is naturally bound, meaning your body absorbs and uses it better than most supplements. But here's the warning: too much selenium can be toxic. That's why I recommend just 1-2 Brazil nuts per day. Not a handful, not a bowl, just 1 or 2. And that's enough. There's more. Brazil nuts also support nerve health by helping maintain myelin, the protective sheath around your nerves that can thin with age, affecting balance coordination and reaction time. Their creamy texture is satisfying, making them a perfect replacement for less healthy comfort foods like cookies or crackers. And here's a secret not many know. Early research suggests that antioxidants in Brazil nuts may protect your telomeres, the caps on your DNA that shrink as you age. That could impact how we age at the cellular level. So one nut a day, that's all it takes. Store them in the fridge. Choose one still in the shell if possible to preserve freshness. And if you're already taking thyroid medication, speak with your doctor before adding them. Used right, Brazil nuts aren't just food, they're a natural supplement for your thyroid, brain, and nerves. Now that you know the best nuts to eat after 65, it's time to face the truth. Some nuts, even the popular ones, may be slowly harming your health without you knowing. Let's talk about the 4 nuts you should avoid, starting today. The 4 worst nuts that seniors should not eat. 4. Peanuts, the inflammatory trigger. Peanuts, they're everywhere, in jars, bars, bowls, at every gathering. Cheap, filling, familiar. But after 65, they could be one of the most dangerous nuts you keep in your kitchen, and I'll tell you why. I had a patient, Mr. Lewis, 71. He didn't drink, didn't smoke, walked daily and still struggled with joint pain, mild memory loss, and elevated liver enzymes. Guess what was his favorite snack? Roasted peanuts, every night. He thought they were heart healthy like all nuts. But peanuts are not nuts, they're legumes. And that makes a difference. Unlike tree nuts, peanuts grow underground where they're more exposed to mold and moisture. That makes them especially vulnerable to a toxin called aflatoxin, a natural byproduct of certain fungi. In small doses, aflatoxins may seem harmless, but over time, especially in older adults with weakened liver function, they can accumulate and cause damage to the liver and immune system. They've even been linked to certain cancers. That's just the beginning. Peanuts are also high in omega-6 fatty acids, and most older adults already get far too many of these, throwing off the delicate balance between pro- and anti-inflammatory fats. What does that mean for you? More joint pain, more inflammation, more cardiovascular stress. To make matters worse, many seniors take blood thinners, and peanuts contain vitamin K, which can interfere with those medications. And commercial peanut butter, even the natural ones, often contain added salt, sugar, and hydrogenated oils, ingredients that raise blood pressure and damage blood vessels over time. The scary part, Mr. Lewis had no idea any of this was happening. After cutting back on peanuts and replacing them with walnuts and pistachios, his inflammation markers dropped. His joints loosened. His energy returned. You don't need to fear peanuts, but you do need to respect the risks. If you're eating them every day, consider a switch. Because next up is a nut that seems innocent, even creamy, but hides a serious threat for seniors trying to control their blood sugar. 3. Cashews, the hidden sugar spike. Cashews. They're creamy smooth, a favorite at parties and snack tables. People love them because they feel indulgent but healthy. But here's what most don't realize, especially if you're over 65, cashews can quietly sabotage your blood sugar, digestion, and bone health. Let me tell you about Denise. She was 68, pre-diabetic, and trying hard to avoid sweets. So she started snacking on cashews every afternoon. They felt satisfying, natural, and better than cookies. But during her next checkup, her blood sugar had jumped. She was confused until we looked closer. Cashews are one of the highest carb nuts, about 9 grams of carbs per ounce, and they have a surprisingly high glycemic load compared to almonds or walnuts. That creamy texture, it goes down easy, too easy. Before she realized, she was eating handfuls and unknowingly spiking her blood sugar daily. Worse still, cashews contain oxalates, natural compounds that bind to calcium in the gut, blocking absorption. That's a problem for anyone trying to protect bone density after menopause or in later years. And then there's the digestive issue. Cashews contain enzyme inhibitors that make it harder to break down proteins. For seniors with already slowing digestion, that means gas, bloating, and less efficient nutrient absorption. The cashew's backstory doesn't help either. To make cashews edible, they must be intensely processed to remove urushiol, the same toxic resin found in poison ivy. That high-heat treatment strips some of their natural nutrients, while commercial versions often come roasted in oil, salted, or sweetened, making things worse. So what should you do? If you love cashews, enjoy a few occasionally, but don't make them your go-to snack. Replace them with walnuts or almonds, which give you protein, fiber, and healthy fats without the sugar spike or nutrient loss. And remember Denise, we swapped her daily cashews for a mix of almonds and pistachios. Her blood sugar stabilized. Her energy came back. Her belly felt better. Small swaps, big difference. 2. Macadamia nuts, the caloric bomb. Macadamia nuts are luxurious, buttery, rich. They melt in your mouth and feel like a reward. But if you're over 65 and trying to manage your weight, cholesterol, or gallbladder health, these nuts could be working against you. Let me tell you about Harold, 75. He prided himself on eating healthy fats. Every evening after dinner, he'd reach for a small bowl of macadamias. Just a few, he'd say. But those few were packing more than 200 calories per ounce. And after a few months, he'd gained 6 pounds. His LDL cholesterol crept up, and he started having pain under his ribs, his gallbladder acting up. Macadamias are the most calorie-dense common nut. High in fat, around 22 grams per ounce, including one of the highest amounts of saturated fat of any nut. And while they do contain some healthy fats, that saturated fat load can raise cholesterol, especially in seniors with already borderline levels. Worse still, macadamias are hard. That creamy texture hides the fact that the nut itself can crack crowns, stress dentures, and strain aging teeth, a common issue after decades of wear and reduced calcium. Budget-conscious seniors often buy lower-quality macadamias stored too long, sometimes rancid, leading to oxidized fats that actually promote inflammation. And because they taste so rich, they're easy to overeat. Especially as we age, our sense of taste dulls and we often chase stronger flavors. Macadamias give that strong buttery hit, and suddenly a few turns into a few too many. If you're enjoying them, occasionally fine. But if macadamias are your daily go-to, it's time for a change. Try pistachios instead, still delicious, but with better portion control, lower calories, and actual cardiovascular benefits. As for Harold, once we swapped his macadamias for 10 pistachios and a few almonds after dinner, the weight came off. His digestion improved, and his doctor took him off one of his cholesterol meds. It's not about giving up flavor, it's about choosing the kind that loves your body back. Now there's just one more nut to talk about, and I've saved the most dangerous one for last. Because this tiny nut can actually interfere with your medications, your taste buds, and even your eyesight. Let's talk about pine nuts. 1. Pine nuts, the medication disruptor. Pine nuts sound innocent. They're small, delicate. You find them in pesto, in salads, in upscale trail mixes. But I'll tell you what I told my patient Evelyn, 72, on 3 medications. Trying to eat clean, pine nuts may be the smallest nut you eat, but they could cause the biggest problems. Evelyn had been dealing with odd symptoms, food didn't taste right. Her favorite tea started tasting metallic. She lost her appetite, and a few pounds she couldn't afford to lose. The culprit: pine nuts. There's a little-known condition called pine mouth syndrome, where a few pine nuts trigger a bitter metallic taste that can last for days or even weeks. It's not dangerous, but in older adults, that kind of taste disturbance is devastating. It leads to reduced appetite, poor nutrition, weight loss, and in some cases, even depression. But that's just the beginning. Pine nuts also contain compounds that may interfere with common senior medications, including blood pressure meds, statins, and antidepressants. Worse, many people, even doctors, don't know this interaction exists. And for those with dentures or swallowing issues, pine nuts are small, slippery, and easy to accidentally inhale or choke on, especially in dry mouth, which affects over 70% of seniors on multiple medications. From a nutritional perspective, pine nuts oxidize quickly, their delicate oils turn rancid fast, especially in warm or light-exposed storage. That oxidation creates inflammatory compounds that quietly damage cells over time. Some research even suggests that pine nuts may contribute to age-related macular degeneration, the leading cause of vision loss in seniors, though this is still being studied. Evelyn had no idea. But once she removed pine nuts from her diet, her taste returned. Her meals brought joy again, and her weight stabilized. So here's the truth. Pine nuts are not for everyday senior diets. If you love them, save them for special occasions, and always check for taste changes and medication risks. That's it. The 4 nuts to eat and the 4 to avoid after 65. But knowing is only half the battle. In the next section, I'll give you a simple, flexible daily nut plan that turns all this into action. A plan you can actually follow with confidence. Now that you know which nuts help and which ones can silently harm, let's turn that knowledge into action. because the real secret to staying healthy isn't in doing something once, it's in doing something every day in a way that feels natural. Here's a simple rhythm I recommend to my senior patients. It takes just a few minutes a day, no fancy recipes, no stress, but the benefits build over time. Start your morning with protection. Right after waking up or with your first cup of tea or coffee, enjoy one Brazil nut. Just one. That's all you need to support your thyroid boost metabolism and protect your nerves. Add 5 to 7 almonds, either whole soaked overnight or chopped into oatmeal or yogurt. These will give you calcium, vitamin E, and a gentle fiber boost to keep your digestion regular, something many of us quietly struggle with. At lunch, think of your heart and eyes. Whether you're having a salad, a sandwich, or a warm dish, toss in a spoonful of chopped pistachios or walnuts. They add crunch flavor and powerful nutrients like lutein for your vision and omega-3s for your heart and brain. Mid-afternoon is your energy reset. Instead of cookies or crackers, have a small snack of 6 state walnut halves or about 15 pistachios. If you choose in-shell pistachios, even better. The shelling slows you down and helps prevent overeating. This small break becomes both a mindful ritual and a memory-supporting habit. And if sleep is a challenge, try having 2-3 walnut halves in the evening, maybe with a cup of chamomile tea. Walnuts naturally contain melatonin, which can gently support better sleep without pills or side effects. Throughout the week, rotate your nuts. You don't need to eat the same ones every single day. Variation helps your body get a fuller spectrum of nutrients and keeps your taste buds happy. Always store your nuts in the fridge or freezer in airtight containers to protect their delicate oils from going rancid. And most importantly, listen to your body. If something feels off after eating a certain nut, trust that signal. Remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about consistency, ease, and intention. You don't need more pills. You need a few good habits that actually support how your body ages. 5 minutes a day, that's all it takes. Up next, let's bring it all home with one powerful reminder about why this matters and how just one small decision can change everything in the long run. I know how it feels. You've spent decades making decisions, caring for others, adapting to changes. You've heard so many rules, so many diets, so many promises. And now, in this stage of life, you just want something that works. Something real. Something simple. That's what this is. Not a trend, not a fad, not a miracle. Just nature's small protectors, almonds, walnuts, pistachios, Brazil nuts working quietly in the background. Nourishing your bones, supporting your heart, sharpening your mind, helping you sleep, helping you feel like yourself again. And it only takes 5 minutes a day. You don't need to change everything overnight. You don't need to chase perfection. You just need to start. Start by removing the nuts that work against you, peanuts, cashews, macadamias, pine nuts, and begin weaving in the ones that work with you. Not with fear, not with pressure, but with respect for this body that's carried you so far. Because every small choice adds up. Every almond, every walnut, every evening without that nagging brain fog, it all counts. You're not too old. You're not too late. Your health journey is still yours to shape. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe so we can keep bringing you clear, trustworthy guidance. And let us know in the comments, which nut are you going to add or remove starting today? We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, stay strong, stay curious, and remember, you're not done growing. You're just getting wiser.